So let's talk about a company that's trying to do something, well, pretty radical. They want to replace the entire idea of trust in our financial system with something much more powerful: cold, hard truth. Let's dive in.
You know, when you hear the word crypto, what comes to mind? For a lot of us, it's probably speculative bubbles. You know, those monkey JPEGs that sold for millions, and unfortunately, a lot of scams. And let's be honest, a lot of it is just noise.
Right, but in the middle of all that chaos, there are a few companies that are quietly building stuff that has real-world use. We are not talking about another coin with a dog on it. We're talking about finding the signal in all that noise.
And that signal, well, it's a company called Figure. It was started by a guy named Mike Cagney. Now, he looked at blockchain and he wasn't thinking about get-rich-quick schemes. He saw technology that could literally rewire our entire financial system from the ground up. And this quote really gets to the heart of his vision. Look, this isn't about some anonymous overthrow the government fantasy. It's about something much more practical, creating a system where you can prove who owns what, instantly, where everything is verifiable, a system built on truth, not just trust.
So, to really get why this is such a big deal, we first have to talk about the problem Figure is trying to solve. And honestly, that problem is woven right into the fabric of traditional finance.
Think about it. Our whole financial system is basically a giant, tangled web of promises. We trust the banks, we trust all the middlemen, we trust that the paperwork is right. But if you've ever seen the movie The Big Short, you know exactly what happens when that trust breaks down. It can be an absolute catastrophe. I mean, when you put it side by side like this, the difference is just stark. You've got the old way, slow, you can't really see what's happening, it's all centralized, and there's a ton of risk from human error. And then you have this new way. It's instant, totally transparent, decentralized, and it replaces fallible people with code you can actually verify. It's a complete paradigm shift.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, if this new way is so much better, why aren't we all using it? Well, this quote, which is a spin on something the physicist Max Planck said, kind of sums it up. The old banking system has incredible inertia. When Figure first pitched this to the big banks, they'd say, wow, this is amazing, but nobody wanted to be the guinea pig. Nobody wanted to go first.
So the Figure team was smart. They knew they couldn't just change everything all at once. They couldn't boil the ocean, right? They needed a wedge, a way in. They had to find one single, incredibly painful process in finance and just prove beyond any doubt that their way was better.
And oh boy, did they find one. The home equity line of credit, or HELOC. If you've ever tried to get one, you know. It is an absolute nightmare of paperwork, applications, appraisals, underwriting. It traditionally takes about 45 days. Just a total mess.
So, Figure looks at that 45-day paper shuffling nightmare and they turned it into, get this, 5 minutes. The whole thing, done online, totally automated, and with no drop in credit quality. This wasn't just a little bit better, it was a completely different universe. And yeah, that got people's attention. But here's the thing. That super fast HELOC, that was just the bait. It was the proof of concept. The 5-minute mortgage was the what. Now let's talk about the how. The engine running the whole thing is a public blockchain called Provenance, built from the ground up specifically for financial services.
And the results? I mean, they really do speak for themselves. Using this Provenance blockchain, Figure has become the #1 non-bank mortgage lender in the entire world. And they're doing this at a massive scale. We're talking about $600 million worth of loans being put on-chain every single month, which all adds up to nearly $12 billion in total loan value sitting on the platform right now. So this isn't some idea on a whiteboard anymore. This is a real, live, multi-billion-dollar financial system that's up and running.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you, for the average person? Well, by getting rid of that army of middlemen, the custodians, the trustees, the auditors, and replacing them with code, the Provenance blockchain just slashes costs. That's about 1 to 1.25% in costs, just gone. And that savings, it goes right back to the borrower.
Okay, so they've built the railroad tracks, right? The foundation for this new financial system is in place. What's next? Well, now they're building the station, a new kind of marketplace they're calling the Everything Exchange. And the core of this exchange is built on this really cool piece of tech called a multi-party computation wallet, or MPC. All you really need to know is this. It's a wallet where no single person has all the control. The power is split up. The best way to think about it? It's literally like the nuclear launch system you see in the movies.
You need multiple people to turn their keys at the exact same time to launch the missiles. With an NPC wallet, it's the same idea. No one person can move the assets. It creates this incredible layer of security.
And this is a night and day difference from what we saw with the whole FTX disaster, right? With FTX, you had one guy with the keys to the entire kingdom, a single, catastrophic point of failure that made $32 billion just vanish. What Figure is building is the polar opposite: multiple keys, self-custody, and no single point of failure. It's designed from the start to prevent that kind of disaster.
So, it all comes back to this one big question. We know the old guard of finance has been incredibly slow to change, clinging to the system built on trust that's inefficient and pretty risky. So after seeing all this, you have to wonder, is it possible that blockchain isn't just a new piece of tech, but maybe, just maybe, it's the funeral director for that old way of doing things?